Third time's a charm. Hang on. Okay, let's see where we are. We should be here, but we can't be there because we can't be everywhere at once. Yeah, we can be everywhere at once. Hold on. Oh yeah, there's a problem. Hold on, where is the thing? Well, oh, there it is. Refresh title. Now we're good. No, don't close that. Minimize it. This is where we want it to be. A little hot on the audio. Holy cow, you're right. What is going on there? How about we pull the gain down? Pull the volume all the way up. What about EQ? Let's take the EQ off for just a bit and see how we are. Okay. See, that's what happens when you don't, when you're not ready. When you think you're ready, and then you're not ready. Okay, are we still too hot on the audio? That's interesting because I've had trouble getting these mics loud enough, and I've had to add gain to them. Hello, Michael. Hello, Streamfire. Hello, Rick. Glad I could help yesterday. My pleasure. Eric Tabor. Yeah. So let's take, oh golly, let's take that off. For some reason that didn't want to come off. I think my triggers have gotten messed up. Trying to do too many things that are not parallel. Welcome, John. John's back from vacation. Welcome, Tim. Glad to have you. All right. Streamfire says much better. There we go. K Sports, welcome. Glad to have you. What are we going to do? So Rick says, I'm trying to use my controller to replay the show. Yeah, That would be a task. Still on vacation, so he's got time to tune in. That's good. That's good. TQ, total quality, top quality. There you go. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Somehow I don't think it's a compliment. All right, let's see where we are here. All right, the intent with today's show is to show off the new TYST. I guess it's TYST. vMix replay controller. It's got vMix stuff built in. Yeah. Let's, it just dawned on me something, because I was having trouble before the show when I was trying to get the controller set up. I may have loaded more than one passel of shortcuts in it. Let's see if we can add an input here. This is going to be a, well, how would you describe this show? This show is going to be not normal. It's going to be even less, it's going to be even less, what's the right word? Even less professional than normal? Yeah, let's see. Okay, this is what's running on the other machine. We'll bring that in for just a second. Yeah. And so we want to get over there. We want to get over there and do that machine. I'm trying to do two machines at once, but boy, it's hard. So what I'm probably going to do is to, what can I do? I can take number 3. Can I do an overlay here? Yeah, except I won't be there. I'll be somewhere else. So we'll take that off, because we're going to be somewhere else. When is it ever normal? Thank you, Rick. Always appreciate that kind of respect. TQ is thank you. I didn't know that. All right. Very good. Hello, Otis. Glad to have you. All right, let's see. This is what we're looking at right here, this little guy. And he is not operating the way I think he should operate. So there's that. So we'll have to see. But I'm not a replay operator, so I may be trying to operate it in a way that it's not intended to be operated. I'm sure that's the case. And I was going to look for a tutorial on how to operate this machine. And I looked up the clock and I was like, oh, it's showtime. So hang on here with me while we stumble through this together. And I need to have a monitor that I can see, that can show me what's going on with you, because you're going to coach me through this. Somebody is. So let me see if we can set up another monitor over there to this PC over here. Yeah, I can do that. I am a consummate semi-professional, and I can do this kind of stuff. Let's see which of these monitors has the longest cord. Sit tight. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be one for the record books or the trash can. Let's see where we can go with a monitor. This one's got a pretty good size cable. Yeah. Let's see if we can get it to move to another spot. Now this you can't see, but you can tell by my voice that I'm picking something up. And I'm allowed to pick up things these days. Whoops. Yeah, let's just unplug this monitor and move it a little further. Hang on, don't go anywhere. Ah, yes. Yeah. All right, let's see if that did anything. It'll It'll take a second for the monitor to power back on. In the meantime, we can see, yeah, we've got stuff there. So let's see if we can move that stuff to that monitor, and then we can see the show. Okay. And we don't have to worry about that one. And we'll take that one over there too. Then we can take our keyboard and mouse and stack keyboards on top of keyboards. How about that? So let's see. We don't want to get our mice confused with each other. So let's go here and take that off. There we go. There we go. All right, so I'm over at the new PC and I've got a shot. Let's move this up to number 2 where we can switch it more easily. All right, so this is the desktop for the PC that is running the replay. And we can come in to that PC. You can see my mouse down here in the bottom left corner. And we can take this and we can dock it back there. And what I've got is I've got 3 videos running on a loop. And I've got those going here to settings, to outputs. And I've got input 1, 2, and 3 as outputs 2, 3, and 4. Because remember, output 1 is always going to program. I guess I could do it. It really wouldn't matter in this case, but let's just leave it there. And let's go in and clear the decks and delete everything on this one. We'll start from fresh. Okay, we'll delete all that. And we will save it. And so let's go back to the keyboard for just a second. So here on the keyboard, we have got, and I know you can't see it very well. I tried to make it as really as good as I can. We've got 8 buttons across the bottom that are preview, or I think the B channel. And then 8 buttons above that I think are the A channel. And then we've got a record or live button. We've got a shift, an AB, an A, a B, a now, and a live button. And then we've got a T-bar, which is interesting because it's got some sort of semi-stops in it. It stops, boom, right there. And then I can push it past that one to another one right there. And then I can push it to 0. So I've got essentially, a stop, another stop, and then 0. So I kind of can feel where I am. I don't know if that's the way I intended it, but that's the way it looks like to me. And then I've got a row of buttons up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a copy, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 as a secondary set of numbers on that. Not quite sure how to get to those quite yet. I've got an up and a down button, and that's going to control where I am in my events, and then a replay and a fast forward, a move button, a 5-second, 10-second, and 20-second replay button, and a speed button. And then I've got the jog wheel over here, which is really nice. It's metal. It's got a pattern on the side of it so that you can grip it very nicely. And it spins very nicely. If you put pressure on it, it doesn't go anywhere. This whole thing is really, really heavy duty. It's really large. That's what I noticed as compared to the ones that I've worked in the past, like the one from X Keys. I think it's even larger than the 3-play controller, but we'll see. We'll see. So that's what we're working with here. And what I've struggled with, and you might be able to add some input into. So Chris is saying that the middle stop could be described as a pause. All the way up would be full speed. All the way down would be reversal speed. Not in this one. But yeah, I can get that. I can get that would happen in others. Doesn't appear to be the way this one's set up. You can tell by the display here and the 0 25, 50, 75, 100, that it's intended to just be from zero, essentially 0 to 100. But Chris, hang in there with me and keep looking over my shoulder. I'm going to need it on this one. So let's go back. Let's go back to this shot for just a second. And I'm going to maximize the replay again. So let's hit the little thumbtack there. And we're going to go full screen with it. We're only going full screen with it because we were full screen with it previously. So I'm going to hit the record button. So the live button should illuminate. There we go, right there. And the record button should illuminate here, and we should start counting up into the future. It tells us we have 4 hours, 54 minutes, and 13 seconds remaining with our 3. And you can see in the monitors up here in the top right corner that all 3 of our videos are still playing. And we've got camera number 1 both in the A channel and camera number 1 also in the B channel. So as we come back to this button here, we can see if I put channel 2 in the B button, or press the B button for channel 2, there we go, we can see that we've got the B channel here. If I come back to camera 1 in B, I can change camera. I can change the A channel to is on camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, just by pressing the keys on the keyboard. 1, 2, 3, so we're good there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 don't mean anything because I don't have anything assigned to those. And this keyboard apparently is just keyed to replay. It's not keyed to any of the inputs that I have. So I can have the instant replay as at any place in vMix that I want to. Whereas with the TY-1500 HD, my inputs had to be 1 through 8 or whatever it was, because that's the way it was set up. Although I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he said, you know, he completely reworked the way the keyboard worked to make it the way he worked. All right, so let's go back to the instant replay for a second. Well, let's go back here for a second. So we've got the 5, 10, and 20-second buttons, and those are our easy buttons. We've also got the in and out button right here that we would make use of. So let's go back to replay. We're at the 12-minute, 19-second mark. I'm going to mark an in, and it marks, I know you can't see that, but it marks at 12 minutes, 19 seconds. Oh, excuse me. I guess that's 12 hours, 19 minutes, 26 seconds right there. And I'll mark an out point. And that's at 12, 19, 46, 52. And it's a 20-second replay. So I can take that 20-second replay and I can hit the play last selected button, and that's going to play that to channel, I guess we're on, oh, that, yeah, that's just going out, and I can switch cameras within that as I want to for that replay. And then when that replay is done, let's see if we can go back to, yeah, too late. We're already back to it. We'll play that one again. All right, so we're going into the replay. And we can switch cameras within the replay. The replays are obviously not synced, so forgive me on that one. I think one got paused accidentally a while back. And so we are, yeah, we are out. All right, so we'll go back over here for just a second. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We've marked an in and an out. But coming back to this one for a second, let me show you my issue. And let's see, working with 2 mice and not ever sure which one I've got. All right, so we are still cranking along right here. at 12 hours, 21 minutes, 29 seconds. And we're going to hit a 5-second replay. And there we go. 12:19:41 to 12:19:46. That's 5 seconds. So let's play that one. That's going out. It's a 5-second replay. We can change cameras real quickly, and then we're out of it. That replay is done. Let's make another 5-second replay. 12:19:42:28 to 12:19:47:28. The problem here is that the time on this one, 12:19:42, actually is nowhere close to 12:22:20. Our times are way off. There's a button on the keyboard, and let's see if we can get to it right here. Yeah, called Live. So I'm going to mash this button, and I want you to watch what happens in vMix when I do. I'm going to mash the button and keep an eye on this little guy right here. When I mash the Live button, it doesn't do anything. Oh, no, it's the Now button. Sorry. The Now button. He jumps way over here, and our timing stays where it was, but if we do a 5-second clip, it's now at the time that we want it to be at. So something's going on with the timing here. I can't quite get it figured out. Chris asks, is this a MIDI device within vMix? I guess it's vMix, or is it connected via the network? It's actually connected USB directly to the PC. So yeah, as Eric says, yes it is. Michael asks, I wonder how it compares to the X-Keys XKE 64 jog T-bar replay controller. So far, Michael, my impression is that the X-Keys controller is a little easier to use. I'm not sure how much collaboration TYST did with vMix in this controller. I would hope that they did some, but I haven't gotten it quite figured out yet. There doesn't appear to be any documentation on it, which is not the best. And I need to search and see if somebody's tried to find this before me and has done a tutorial on how this might work. So I'm impressed with the build quality. I'm impressed with the layout. The buttons feel good. It's really heavy. It's got 4 rubber feet on the bottom, but it is not easily pushed around. I like the fact that the T-bar has 2 stops in it, although I would assume that's a feature and not a bug. But I'm clueless as to exactly how they have intended this to work, and perhaps somebody that's more of a replay guy can decipher it and explain it to me. Eric Tabor's asking, Tom, how does the T-bar feel? The T-bar, the housing right here on the T-bar feels like aluminum. The T-bar itself has got, oh, it looks like these unscrew. Well, let's take them apart and see. Hey. Yeah, these are probably aluminum, but they're meaty. So let's put them back together. Once I've screwed them back together, I'm screwing them to a metal. There we go. Good and tight to a metal stick that they're attaching to. The motion is solid. Again, we've got these 2 stops there. A stop at, what is that, about 75%? And then another stop at about 30%. So, maybe those are stops that you would normally be using in replay. If not, they're probably ones that that you'll end up using in replay. Let's see, price on this guy, I think it comes from China. I think the list price is like $560 or something like that. By the time you pay to have it shipped here, and you pay taxes and fees and duty, that's just to pay to get it shipped, it's over $600. And then when this one hit the US border, there was a $42, what did they call it? Some sort of customs fee or something, but I'm assuming it's tariffs. Although it's not even 10%. So I don't know. But anyway, this rascal with a list price of I think like $560 ended up costing about $640 to get it in. Still cheaper than the X keys. And I'm sure once I get it figured out, it's going to be very, very usable and appears to be really sturdy. Support is a little iffy. There's no indication in the manual. Let's see if we can find the manual here. Yeah. Oh, yeah, here's the manual. So maybe there is a manual. So there's the controller. And there's the first page, not in English. Second page, not in English. Third set of pages, not in English. Fourth set of pages, not in English. Yeah. So I guess I could find some sort of scanner and have this translated. But a little disappointed that's something that is going to go, for more than just the Chinese market. This is going to be an international type deal. We would expect that it would be appealing to more than just Chinese language. So, a little disappointed there. But this is the Beijing Tianyin Television Technology Company, or TYST. TYSTvideo.com or bjtyst.net. I've got both of those down there. And they do list what appears to be a USA phone number. So yeah, we'll see. And then we've got a QR code. I guess we can scan that QR code and see what that might bring us. Let me find a phone. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, Bill, I agree with you on that. X-Keys is a known vendor. They're in Michigan. They have a long history in devices, not just broadcast devices. And let's see if we got a... Okay, so that QR code connects to WeChat.com, connecting 1 billion people with calls, chats, and more. And yeah, so that's interesting, but not particularly helpful. All right, so that didn't really do much. And it doesn't say what it does because we can't read the language. I really, oh, this is interesting. No, never mind. I really want to like this controller. I really do. Because I like the feel of it. I'm not a replay guy, but if I were a replay guy, I would like this. It might be a little big. I might prefer, swapping these two. Don't know how, don't know how you came up as a replay controller. If you're just starting out, then it doesn't matter. I do think that the heel of my palm might get in the way of operating this, because otherwise I have to hover above it in order not to hit any of these buttons. I guess that's all right. I'm not going to be resting there anyway. If I rest, I'll rest right here. I guess I could operate it from here. But after 2-3 hours, I want every benefit of resting my hand when I can. I guess I can rest my palm here. and then I can get to my buttons just by sliding my hand down. If this is going to be a two-handed operation, then I've got these buttons and the controller here. So it's a little, yes, maybe this is the industry standard. You've got to reach over something no matter what you do. You've got to reach over buttons, or you have to reach over a control to get to buttons. The only buttons that are really kind of free and clear are these in the middle. If you never use the jog wheel, then getting to these buttons would be a piece of cake. And I would think for most folks, at least on the low end, the 5, 10, and the 20 buttons are going to be the ones that they go to. The buttons to control and move and copy things from one folder to another in vMix may be something that you work up to. And then, of course, the in and out buttons were going to be used a lot. Not sure what the function of this button is, but I can say when we go into the interface, as I press that button, it changes the position of this button, which is the play pause. So I'm paused right now, and now I'm playing. Nope, excuse me, I'm paused, now I'm playing. And now our number right here. And then let's see if we go to live, we go to now, and I've got to push play again. So some of the keyboards, like the button I just pushed now, is going to send us to now, but it puts us in a pause position. If I come back to live, nope, excuse me, if I come back to play, there we go. I am slightly behind the time a little bit. Looks like about 8 seconds behind. So I'm not sure how to be now and playing at the same time. I guess I press them in quick succession. So it looks like, yeah, I'm at 33:36 and 33:37. So we're real close here. Let's try a 5 second, and that gives us 37:41, but it also paused us right here. So the next time I try to do a 5 second, I've actually gone back in time. I've gone 5 seconds back in time from live. So I guess once I do my 5 second control, then I've got to turn things back on again. Actually, I have to go to now and then turn things back on again. Don't know that that's the way vMix necessarily intended to work. Oh, you know what? I'm just sitting here just messing around with the jog shuttle. And as I do, let me show you what happens here. The time goes forward into the future, backward into the past, forward into the future. So I can spin it, and we're going to go way into the future. Well, not way into the future, but we're going to go as close as we can to the current moment. And then I'll hit the now button and then play again, and we're now in the current moment. But if I touch the jog wheel at all, I send us back in time. So for an inexperienced operator, that's going to drive you nuts. And I may have been doing that, hitting that. I may have been touching this when I went to the 5, 10, and 20 second buttons. Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right. All right, Christopher says, those buttons all make sense to me. And then he says, you're not live. I am not live. That is correct. Let's see if I can, in a situation, I am not live. I'm going to hit the live button. So now I'm live. But when I hit live, the play pause button is now paused. So I guess that's okay. I don't want to play anything right this second. And on the keyboard here, the play pause button is in the red position, which would mean that it's probably would mean that it's paused. If I press it, it turns out, and nothing happened on the keyboard. Nothing changed in vMix. Let's see. We'll try that again. All right, so we see where we are here. And I'll come back Mash the button so that it turns on. Yeah, okay. So it works now. But it wasn't working a second ago. Interesting. And we're looking down here. So I'm playing. The button is in the red position. Indicate playing. I'm going to hit it again, and it's going to stop. And that's going to put it into the pause position right down here. I am currently live. I'm going to catch up to now and then go back live again. I think yeah, as I'm trying to come to grips with this, the part that makes me comfortable is it appears to be pretty solid. It has a lot of thought put into it as to what the buttons do, probably copied off of other controllers. It has, you know, I like the illuminated position of the T-bar. Really nice in a dim room. You kind of know where you are, but do you need to? I like the fact that the buttons are good. We've got, you know, plenty of buttons for cameras. And I'm not really thrilled that this guy is active all the time, although I guess you want him to be active all the time. And if you know that he somehow affects what you've got going on, then yeah, you may want to avoid him. What I'm not in love with is the lack of documentation, the lack of any kind of published support. You know, what is this you know, kind of a one and done kind of thing, or is this company trying to make inroads? If they make inroads, they're going to have to beef up their support end of it in terms of not just technical support in case something goes wrong or it's broken or not operating correctly, but support in terms of, you know, this is how it operates. This is what's supposed to happen. I do know that the 1500 HD switcher, kind of the partner for this, well, this is the 680. There used to be a 580, and the 580 and the 1500 HD. So you've got a replay controller and a switcher. They played nicely together, and they were intended to play nicely together. And the vMix shortcuts that both of them executed used different channels, so there was no conflict. This guy does not play nicely with the 1500 HD. There is definitely a conflict in shortcuts between the two of them. Not so much on the vMix end of it, but more so in the fact that this button, for example, right here, is always on channel 6. The vMix shortcuts, when you're using the switcher and the controller, the vMix shortcuts for this guy change to channel 13 in vMix, but this guy doesn't seem to know it because it doesn't seem to know it. Kind of curious. Whereas with the X keys, for example, you could assign the X keys a channel and make all your shortcuts for that channel, and the X keys would behave. This guy is, maybe he's the new generation and they're going to update everything else to go with it. But as of right now, it can't be used in conjunction on the same PC. It can't be used in conjunction with the TY-1500 HD, which is the switcher. So yeah. And I'm with Chris. The buttons make sense, but the way they function doesn't make sense. And when I say make sense, it doesn't make sense in the way that I've experienced it with the JL Cooper, with the 3-play mapped to to vMix using central control and with the X keys, XK64 jog wheel replay controller. So, you know, there's seems to be a little lack of standardization there, but it is the Wild Wild West still. In some ways, I think we're still in the golden age of live streaming. We entered the golden age of live streaming probably, I don't know, 8 years ago, and we're still there. And equipment like this is continuing to be brought to the market. So yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. I think they intended it, or maybe they didn't intend it to be a standalone system, but they created it in a vacuum, not considering other systems that might be involved. Michael says, if the company makes products that conflict if connected to the same PC, that's a problem for many one-man companies. Agreed with that. Agreed with that. And my guess is that this may not be, who the heck knows how they intended it to be used. I think they want to sell boxes. And I think they're trying to hit a sweet spot in the market. Certainly price point, it's less than almost anything out there. I think SandKeys has one. In fact, I think this may have some SandKeys guts in it. The SandKeys unit is different. I think the T-bar is here and the jog shuttle is there, and the keys are a little bit different, but the case appears pretty similar. And I'm just wondering if maybe they've got some SandKeys circuit boards in here that are telling vMix to do different things with different buttons. We'll have to see. We will have to see. Anyway, it's fun to play with new toys. It is fun to play with new toys. But I do agree with Dave. I think this is intended as a standalone system. And here, I've actually got a customer that wanted to use this and wanted to use the 1500 HD together, and that's not going to happen. So they're going to, I think they have picked just this one, and they'll work out the switcher part a different way. But yeah. So I've overstayed my welcome here. Let's see what Michael's saying here before I tune off. Less is not always the best solution, even when one wants to maximize the money. Well, I would agree with that. Yeah. Bill says, is the manual only Chinese? If so, is there a translation out there? Great question. Great question. I would think if there isn't, there will be. Somebody will take it upon themselves to translate it. Somebody that understands this machine. In fact, it may already be out there. This is just what came in the box. Yeah. I've got a contact at TYST, and he's the one that told me, yes, these do not work together. Don't expect them to. So I stopped killing myself on that one. But I'll see if there's a manual and maybe some tutorials on this one. That would be nice. Not bad, but, you know, with some question marks. That's the key. It's got some question marks. In fact, somebody told me out loud when we were talking about the difference between this system and the vMix, and the X keys system. They said the X keys looked like a hobby machine. Interesting. The X keys looked like a hobby machine. I guess because it had, you know, all the plastic inlays in between the buttons, and those could be popped off, and it didn't have the same finished appearance as this machine. So that may be a challenge to X keys to, you know, to standardize their format to the point where, you know, they're cutting out holes in metal. On the other hand, you know, what do you care what it looks like as long as it does the job you need it to do? And that's the difference between sales and marketing and operation and technical support. All right, Chris says, I don't understand why they can't work together. Aren't they just MIDI devices with vMix shortcuts? And yes, Chris, they are MIDI devices with vMix shortcuts. And within the MIDI world, and I'm not a MIDI guy, so don't quote me on any of this stuff, but I think it might help. As an idiot, when I try to understand things and then repeat them, I'm trying to dumb them down so that I can understand them and I can understand it when I say it to you. But everything in the vMix world that comes from MIDI is assigned to a channel. And if you don't assign it a channel, it'll assign itself to probably channel 0 or channel 1 kind of thing. This keyboard has assigned most of these buttons to channel 6. And, excuse me just a second. Goodness, need to have a remote mute button. Sorry about that. And the other keyboard, the other controller, the switcher, kind of the cousin to this guy, also uses channel 6. The previous iteration of this guy would switch its channel when it knew something else was being used with it. And so it would change to channel 13. This guy, that they left out that part. So when you hook up the switcher in conjunction with this controller, these buttons stay on channel 6. Now, it would be great if I could just say, oh, well, I'll just go in and edit my vMix shortcuts. The problem is, I think these buttons are hardwired to channel 6. And maybe the older version of this controller had some sort of switch in it that allowed it to convert channel 6 to channel 13 if something else was present. That's not built into this. And I think part of the reason is because the OEMs, the TYST people, OEM'd this. Goodness gracious. Sorry about that. The OEM's people that built this for TYST are different than the people that had built the previous controller. The tooling is different. The inlays on the sides are different. The surface on the top is different. I mean, there are enough differences here. The previous model of this in the TYST line included a red bar right here, which matched up with the red bar on the 1500 HD, which said, you know, they were sort of a pair. They were, and they had the same feel. They had the same logo. This one is not logoed at all. It doesn't have TYST on it anywhere. It doesn't have a model number anywhere. It doesn't have a serial number anywhere. It is what it is. But it's unbranded. Doesn't have a model, doesn't have a serial number, doesn't have any kind of contact information on it if you got into trouble. Yeah. So I'm thinking this guy came to the market a little early, before they had a chance to build the cocoon around it with the tech support and the graphics, logos, whatever on the unit. And then a plate that would give you model and serial number. Let me see if the older model, hold on a second, I've got it here. I'll slide it under the camera for just a second. This is the control surface. And you can see why it's TYST video here. It's got the nice red bar here. And it's got some sort of, it's got something here, which I guess is a brand and a serial number. That's it. It's not particularly well marked either. So we'll set it off to the side for a second. Yep. All right, let's see. Bill Connor says, being able to configure as needed is a plus, not a hobby. I would agree with that. Yeah. And the other thing may be, though, Bill, if this is intended as a one user, one PC environment, then it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference. Michael says, in my world, the X keys are much more flexible. Absolutely. Absolutely. And as a user, you appreciate that. I think we could reconfigure this board But you know, this button is always going to be channel 6, position 115, I think. So we would have to make our shortcut correspond to this button as opposed to making that button correspond to our shortcut. It's just, yeah, that's just the way it is. Bill says, may not be able to select the channels needed for multiple devices. Right. Right. Not in this guy, I can't change its channel, and it won't change its own channel if it even has the capacity to do that. We'll have to see. And it does have an RJ45 port, an Ethernet port, and what looks like a serial port. So it may be possible to get on a network and, you know, update the firmware or something like that in this guy. I haven't tried plugging into a network. I might try that later and see what happens. Yeah. So that's it, guys. That's all I got. It's incomplete, but I'm not sure if it's incomplete because of me or because of the gear. Certainly the documentation is not my fault. I'll take responsibility for the rest of it, though. Yeah. Well, it's good hanging out with you guys, and I will catch you on the flip side, whatever that means. And in the meantime, what are we going to do? We are going to we're going to close out. Yeah, we'll close out here. Thanks for tuning in.